Have you ever just like stopped and looked around, Uh, I mean, there are billions of us, right?
Yeah.
All on this planet, each with our own whole life story going on. But it really makes you think, how many of us are actually like running the show, living life on our own terms, like the main character, making choices and actually shaping things?
Yeah.
And how many are just kind of, well, going through the motions?
Right, just on autopilot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Almost like those NPCs you see in video games. They have their little routines and they just kind of follow the script.
It's a fascinating question, isn't it? I mean, even if you're not a gamer, that whole idea of passive existence versus really taking control, creating your own path, it's kind of fundamental to what it means to be alive, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It might sound a little out there to some people, this whole NPC thing, but think about the patterns we see every day. The daily grind that so many people seem stuck in.
Yeah.
Wake up, commute, work, consume, maybe a little bit of entertainment, sleep, and then hit repeat.
Ugh,
It's
yeah.
like watching a bad sitcom on a loop, and no one's laughing.
Yeah.
So I was reading this thing the other day,
Mm.
and it really got me thinking about what separates the people who feel like they're directing their lives
Hmm.
versus those who are just kind of reacting to whatever life throws at them.
Right.
And it went deeper than just like the typical self-help stuff about setting goals.
Oh, yeah. Don't
This was about something way more, I don't know, fundamental.
It's like how our minds actually create the reality we
Yeah.
experience.
Exactly. So that's what we're going to unpack today, this whole idea of living as an NPC versus like stepping into the role of the main character in your own life,
Yeah.
And more importantly, what we can actually do about it.
Okay, I'm game. Let's do this.
All right, so let's paint this picture of the NPC life first.
Yeah.
The thing I was reading, it described it as being on a mental hamster wheel,
Oh, I like that.
right? That image
Oh.
is just, it's so spot on. You're putting in all this effort, all this energy, you're running and running, but you're basically staying in the same place day after day.
It really captures that feeling of being trapped in a rut.
Yes. And the crazy thing is, this isn't just like a metaphor or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This perspective says that the consequences of this kind of life,
Yeah.
they're real.
Definitely.
It's like you're just scraping by,
Hmm.
always focused on getting to the next paycheck,
Mm-hmm.
the next weekend, constantly stressed about money, maybe complaining about your job,
Mm-hmm.
and dreaming about that vacation that always seems just out of reach.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like settling for a pale imitation of life, you know?
Exactly. And what's even crazier is how many people are living this way without even realizing it. I bet if you really look around, you'll see it in your own life.
Oh, absolutely.
People, family, friends, even strangers,
Mm-hmm.
they're just kind of going through the motions, like they're sleepwalking through their own existence. And the thing that really hooked me on all of this was the motivation behind it. The person writing this, they were talking about how they were watching people they cared about.
Yeah.
People with so much potential, just feeling stuck and unhappy. It's like they were following a script that someone else wrote for them. Work hard, get the promotion, buy the house.
Are you actually happy?
Exactly. And that longing for something more,
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
real freedom, purpose,
Yes.
a life that you actually enjoy living. I think everyone feels that at some point.
Yeah. That's what really drives us to look for answers, right? And this whole exploration leads to what they call the golden nugget, the key to breaking free from this NPC mindset.
Okay, so tell me more about this golden nugget.
It's pretty simple, actually. It's the idea that your mind shapes your reality.
Okay, I mean, we've heard that before,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, for sure.
But how is this different?
This isn't just like positive thinking or wishful thinking or
Right.
whatever. It's like
Yeah.
this is talking about the actual mechanism of how our experiences are created.
Whoa, okay. I'm listening.
It's deeper than just working hard or setting goals.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, even people stuck in that NPC mindset are trying those things. The real shift is understanding the different parts of our minds.
So that's where the conscious and subconscious mind come in.
Exactly. Our conscious mind is what we're aware of right now.
It's like the voice in my head that's like narrating my life.
Exactly. It's constantly thinking, planning, sometimes overthinking.
Oh, tell me about it.
But the subconscious mind,
Yeah.
that's the real powerhouse.
Okay.
It's running behind the scenes, shaping our reality without us even realizing it. Like, it's the operating system of our lives.
Interesting. So that's why just trying to think positive thoughts doesn't always work.
Yeah, if your subconscious is running on old programming, limiting beliefs, fears, It doesn't matter how much you try to force positive thinking on top of it.
It's like trying to drive with the parking brake on.
Exactly. The subconscious doesn't work with logic. It runs on emotion, repetition, and simplicity.
Okay, so how do we rewrite the subconscious code then?
The thing I was reading, they use this analogy of pushing a boulder uphill.
Oh, I can picture that.
Right. You're straining, trying so hard to move this massive rock, but your subconscious programming is like holding you back.
Ah, that makes sense.
So the point is, real change has to start from within. If your conscious mind wants one thing, but your subconscious is pulling in the opposite direction, you're going to stay stuck.
So what can we actually do about it?
Well, first, you got to understand the language of the subconscious.
Okay, like what?
3 main things: strong emotions, repetition, and simplicity. Think about it. The things that really stick with us, they usually involve intense feelings.
It's true. Like that time well, maybe I shouldn't share that on the podcast.
Fair enough. But you get the idea. Joy, fear, disappointment. Those intense moments, they bypass our logical mind and go straight to the subconscious, shaping how we react to things in the future.
And then repetition.
Yes. It's like, you know that annoying song that gets stuck in your head?
Oh, I hate those.
Right, but that's the point. Even if you don't consciously like it, if you hear it enough times, it gets in there.
So the same goes for thoughts and beliefs.
Exactly, repeating something over and over, even if it's just a simple phrase. It starts to change the subconscious programming.
Okay, that makes sense. And then simplicity.
Keep it short and sweet.
Yep.
The subconscious is not going to sit through a lecture.
So none of those super long affirmations.
Yeah, probably not the most effective. Short, powerful statements, repeated consistently. That's the key.
So I'm curious, the person who was writing about this, they said they actually tried this stuff out themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. They talked about focusing on how it would feel to have what they wanted, like really feeling it.
Yeah.
And then they used these simple phrases to reinforce that feeling.
Did it work?
Apparently. They said things started shifting for them.
Yeah.
New opportunities, more money.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Right. But they also made this point about, like, you can't just dabble in this stuff.
I think I get what you mean.
You know, like reading a couple articles online isn't going to cut it.
It's got to be a commitment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you actually invest your time, your energy, maybe even your money into learning about this stuff, it shows that you're serious. You're more likely to follow through.
I think that makes a huge difference. It's like a signal to your subconscious, like, hey, we're really doing this thing. Okay, so what else stood out to you?
Oh, this idea about attention. They said attention is alignment, which, like, whoa, that's deep.
I like that. It's so true, though, isn't it? What we focus on, it shapes our reality. Not just what we say we want, but where our attention actually goes.
So if we're constantly worrying, focusing on what we don't have, on problems.
Then we're attracting more of that into our lives, yeah.
Exactly. But if we consciously choose to focus on what we want, on the positive,
Yeah.
on possibilities.
That's where our energy flows, and that's what we start to see more of.
This person was saying that they went through a really rough patch,
Mm-hmm.
and what helped them was consciously pulling their attention away from negative stuff,
Like what?
the news,
Yeah.
and overthinking and all that.
Yeah.
It wasn't about ignoring reality. It was about being intentional with their mental energy.
That's so important, especially nowadays, right?
Right. The world is literally designed to grab our attention and hold it hostage. Ads, clickbait, all the drama and negativity.
It's exhausting.
It is. And that's where this idea of being the main character comes in. It's about taking control of your attention instead of letting it be controlled by everything else.
Choosing where you focus your energy is a superpower these days.
Totally. Okay, now this is where things get really mind-bendy. They talk about this invisible line that connects our inner world with everything that happens in our external reality.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorite parts. It challenges the whole life is just random thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, things just happen to us and we're just along for the ride.
But this perspective is saying we're not just passive bystanders. We're actually creating our experiences with our thoughts, our beliefs, our feelings.
And that's a big responsibility.
Yeah, it's not about blaming everyone and everything else for what goes wrong anymore.
You're in charge. It's all you.
This person called it owning it all, the good and the crap.
Yeah, I love that. So empowering, right?
It is. They talked about this practice where whenever something goes wrong, instead of getting all upset and blaming the world, they ask themselves, okay, what's the connection here? What was going on in my mind that might have contributed to this?
That's so smart.
Like if a business deal falls through or their car breaks down.
They look for patterns in their thinking, their emotions.
Exactly. because over time, these patterns can become so ingrained that it's hard to even see them anymore.
Right. It's like our brains are wired to create these pathways, these neural connections.
And the longer we repeat a certain thought or feeling.
The stronger that connection gets, like teaching your grandma how to do a TikTok dance.
Uh-huh. Perfect analogy. So how do we break free from those old patterns?
Okay, so this part was really interesting to me.
What's that?
It's about action, but not in the way we usually think about it. They called it frequency first, action after.
Okay. Explain.
A lot of the time, we're told to just hustle, take massive action, go after what we want.
But this is saying that's not the whole story.
Right. It's not enough to just take action if you're doing it from a place of fear or scarcity or doubt. It's like,
Wow.
you can be busy, but are you actually aligned with what you truly want?
I see what you mean.
They had this saying, busting your ass in a poverty mindset just breeds more poverty.
So it's about getting your mindset right first.
Exactly. It's about embodying the feeling of having what you want before you even take the action.
Okay, so like how do you actually do that?
They told this story about a guy, Mr. Opulent, they called him.
Mr. Opulent.
Right. So apparently, this guy wanted to close this huge business deal, and he just decided, like, it's already done. He completely embraced that feeling, that confidence.
And then what?
And then he took action from that place, and guess what?
He got the deal.
He got the deal. It's like tuning a radio. You got to make sure you're on the right frequency before you blast the music.
Okay, I love that. So as we wrap up this conversation, what's the most important thing you want our listeners to walk away with?
I think the key takeaway is that we have so much more power than we realize.
Yeah.
We're not just pawns in some predestined game. We actually get to choose the kind of life we want to create.
And the tools to do that are all within us.
Exactly. Our minds are the key.
Yeah.
Our attention is the fuel. And our reality is the canvas. So let's go out there and paint something amazing.
I love it. And remember, this is a journey. There will be ups and downs, moments of clarity and moments of doubt. The key is to keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep moving forward.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So here's a little challenge for everyone listening. Think about one area of your life where you feel like you're just kind of stuck in NPC mode.
Yeah.
What's one small shift you can make in your focus, in your feelings, in your actions, to start stepping into the role of the main character? You have the power to rewrite your story.
Absolutely.
What are you waiting for?